In this post, I want to show you that there's actually 4 different types of parenting styles, and this is according to John Gottman in his book, Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child. So the first type of parent is one that is called a dismissive parent. The second type of parent is a disapproving parent. The third type of parent is a laissez-faire parent. And then the fourth type of parent is an emotion coach, which is the true goal of any parent, which is to raise an emotionally intelligent child. And John Gottman refers to it as an emotion coach. So with regard to the dismissive parent, in a nutshell, the dismissive parent is the type of parent that they want to be there for their child, but they're not sure how to deal with the emotions. And they may resort to something like distracting the child. So for example, let's say the child is expressing, sadness, and you don't know what to do with this. Or you're just like, oh, let me distract them with something like, oh, you want to get some McDonald's? So that's what a dismissive parent does. They don't really teach the child how to deal with the emotion. They will distract them because they want to make them feel better. But rather than working with the emotion and say, okay, this is what we can do when we feel this way, and kind of, facing that emotion, you distract them with something else because you want them to go from sad to happy. So even though you might make them happy, you're not acknowledging their emotions. The second type of parent is called a disapproving parent. And a disapproving parent, in a nutshell, means that you are punishing your child because they're expressing any type of an emotion. So when you disapprove, like for example, let's say the child is crying, then you might get upset because they're crying. So you say, oh, I'll give you something to cry about. So you're actually giving them a consequence for showing an emotion. So rather than saying, oh, you're crying and trying to figure out what's causing the crying, no, you're focused on the actual behavior. So you're crying. I'm going to give you something to cry about. In other words, I want to be in control and I want you to stop crying. So you're basically shutting down their emotions. You're shutting down any awareness for the child to learn about their own feelings. And then the third one is a laissez-faire parent. So think of it more like a very laid-back person. The parent just kind of lets anything go. So the child's having a temper tantrum in the store, and you're just like, you don't do anything about it. You just let, if you think time will take care of it on its own. So let them go through it, and you don't set a limit to it, their behavior, and say, hey, stop that, or that's not appropriate. You just kind of let it all fly. You don't really care. You're very laid back, and you just say, hey. So you just a laissez-faire parent. Just think of it, just a laid back person. And just to make a distinguishment, that they're not given a consequence for them expressing emotions. They're just open to any type of an emotion. Whereas a disapproving parent doesn't want the child to express emotions. They get upset because they think the child might be trying to manipulate them with their emotions. So you're like giving them punishment for even showing any tears, for example. And then the dismissive parent really wants to be there for the child. They just don't know how to. So they actually just try to distract them to try to make them feel better. And notice that all 3 have something in common. They're not teaching a child how to manage their emotions and to learn from their emotions onto how to deal with it and how to channel it in a way that's going to be, productive or beneficial for them to learn from that experience and take that with them into another situation in the future. So those are what the things those 3 have in common, is that they're just not helping a child understand their emotions. And then the fourth type of parenting style is the emotion coach, which is what John Gottman talks about in the book. And that's the goal of the book, is to show you how to become a better emotion coach, a better parent of a child. And the main goal of the emotion coach is to make the child understand or teach them about their emotions and how to handle them and what to do when you're experiencing those things. So that way you're there for them, and and it goes to pretty much what the name of the book says. You end up raising an emotionally intelligent child. So in my next post, I'm going to actually share what it is you need to do to become an emotion coach.